loved ones who are trying to come to terms with this terrible loss.
We're joined now by former British Army Captain Afzal Amin, happens to be a Muslim as well. Good morning to you, Afzal. Let's just address that issue first. What do you think about this U-turn on soldiers wearing their uniforms in public?
Well, first of all, as a former British Army officer and as a British Muslim, I want to reiterate my condolences to the family of Lee Rigby, who died in this absolutely terrible attack. In terms of uniform, I mean, the armed forces still sit at the heart of the pride of what it means to be British and to be, part of the global world and so on. And I think having that uniform out in public, I think is a really good call by the government. We shouldn't detract from the pride that soldiers have in their own service, but also we have in our own armed forces.
David Cameron described this attack as a betrayal of Islam. Would you agree with those words?
Absolutely. I mean, there are 3 million Muslims in Britain who today, tomorrow, yesterday, are living in this country. They are contributing to every part of it, from doctors and politicians to street workers to people who are working in the underground, or cab drivers and wherever else. Fully part of this society, as indeed I, having spent 11 years in the army, 3 tours of Afghanistan, 1 tour of Iraq, a fully integrated body of people. So there's no way this attack is in any way representative of what it means to be British and Muslim.
You're right that there's a lot of people who are Muslim in this country, but for many of them they're the silent majority. How do you feel when the ones who shout loudest, the firebrands? I'm afraid we're going to hear from one a bit later.
You are, and this is one of our biggest complaints, that this tiny group of about 20 or so people, led by the particular preacher that you're going to have on today, these people are utterly unrepresentative, and it's like asking Nick Griffin to go and represent Britain in the United Nations. It's completely, I mean, we would say it's completely wrong that they're giving so much airtime, whereas a silent, moderate majority, which is British first and foremost and integrated, is almost completely ignored.
But maybe they should speak up a bit more, that's what I'm saying.
But the airtime isn't given. I mean, you've got me on for a couple of minutes, you've got Anjum Chowdhury on for a lot longer. He's on Newsnight last night, and whatever the time is, but he was on Newsnight last night rather than much more moderate people. So there is a degree of media culpability, if I may say so.
It's interesting though, isn't it, the way as well these extremist clerics use the religion to justify what's happened. I mean, the front page of the Independent today is all about a cleric who says that the decapitation of a non-civilian target is permitted under Islam. I mean, it's very difficult when people are coming out with those kinds of things on the internet to vulnerable young men, isn't it?
But, I mean, that may be one person. There's another 20,000, 30,000 clerics that are saying exactly the opposite. And that mass of people is almost completely ignored. The first person in history to say that don't kill women, don't kill children, don't kill non-combatants, don't kill people who are inside churches was the Prophet Muhammad, 1400 years ago. So I think there's a degree of misunderstanding here of what the religion really means. And there's 1.5 billion Muslims in the world, and they live largely peacefully with the rest of the population of the world, and we often forget these facts.
Afzal, it's good to hear from you this morning. Thanks very much indeed for joining us.
As the Woolwich murder inquiry continues, more details